Hello and welcome everyone. We are back. We are back with third episode of Road to Superbowl, the show that will try to put you inside the mind, well, of me, but hopefully inside of mind of NFL GMs. We'll talk about every single one of your favorite teams. Okay, we're gonna talk about 32 teams that are in NFL. Maybe you don't like all of them. Maybe I don't find here a fan of, I don't know. Well, I'm not gonna say some team. I don't want them to look bad, as no one could root for them. Rounds? Nah. You have great fans that endured a lot, so I'm not going to pile on that. Well, here we are, third ever episode. If you missed last two, go check the channel. We followed up on the Chicago Bears. We followed up with the Commanders last time, and today it's Patriots time. If you are a first time viewer or just to refresh a bit, this is the show that's done by a guy from Czech Republic that's maybe you don't know what Czech Republic is. It's in the heart of Europe, and what we are known for, beside the beer, quite a good sports guys. Jaromír Jágr, maybe you know, Ester Ledecka, hope that rings a bell. We are also, I think, the country that has the highest density of coaches per persona in the country. We believe that we understand everything, every sport. So, am I an exception? No. I do believe I understand a lot. I have background in economics, management, and psychology. Used to play chess, used to play ice hockey. So, I'm coming from a huge sports family, and just like 10 years ago, I discovered my passion into NFL, to American football in general, but NFL is like 95% of that passion, not really that passion about college. It's gonna change, I think, soon because like last 2 years, I'm absolutely digging this game, spending shit ton of hours, really, watching, listening, and trying to figure out the most. And because I absolutely love this game, and because I feel like this is something that maybe not everyone looks at when they look at their team. Maybe they just look, we have this guy, he's good, he's bad. You don't care about this contract, team's window. You are a fan, you want your team to win always, right? Why not? But here we try to look at, is it actually possible? Possibility. How does this align with where your roster is at, what your future looks like, etc., etc. So this is the rundown, what the show is going to be about. And today, let's go and deep down into the Patriots. So, beside the five main points that I always discuss, which is weaponry, QBs, running backs, tight ends, and wide receiver, both lines. In the defensive line, I also add linebackers, secondary, self-explanatory, cornerbacks, and safeties. And we talk coaches and a bit special teams, which I'm not like a great guy to tell you a lot about, but I will do my best. Also, for every team I pick like 3 topics that to me are like really important for them to figure out or to talk about, or it's just something that should characterize them going forward. Or it's like, in this case, like the major turn pretty much in their franchise history. So, these topics for the Patriots, first one is offense in general. And when you look at the Patriots offense, last couple of years, it was slow, it was bad. So we're gonna really talk about it. How does that fit with them having number 3 overall pick? How does that fit with Mac Jones leaving the town, Jacoby Brissett coming in, etc. Also, this franchise just took a turn in their history. Like you cannot say otherwise. For a lot of people, the GOAT of coaches, Bill Belichick, is gone. He's being replaced internally by Jared Mayo, former defensive coordinator of Patriots, or like co-defensive coordinator, you know how it was with Bill and his staff. And that's gonna like come up in some of the discussions we're gonna have about the players, about the staff, and what does it mean for Patriots going forward. And also, kind of following up on that is where the Patriots are at. You know, because it seems like there was a division of opinions because their defense, despite injuries, still looked very good last season. And maybe the belief is or was we have a lot of cap space, defense is solid, we are continuing with Jared Merrill, he should keep this defense very good. Just spend the money on offense and we will figure it out. That didn't happen, and I think that's for good because I honestly believe that this thing needs to be refined, rethink, and rebuilt. But not to worry, I feel like there are very interesting cornerstones for the future of this franchise. It's just not that, or the angle I'm taking on it, and I believe that's what the Patriots are doing as well. It's not optimizing 2024 for a very good reason. We will come back to that later. So, first of all, we will start with weaponry. So here, as usual, I'm gonna run down some collectible cards that I designed for this team. So here you have Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Ramondre Stevenson, following up with Zeke Elliott, Antonio Gibson, who I just love that picture. And I was like, what the hell am I getting into? And Juju Smith with like, yeah, he looks checked out, and I think a lot of Patriots fans are checked out on him as well. Kendrick Bourne, Tyquan Thornton, Demario Douglas. Kind of the new era, hopefully, for the Patriots offense. Maybe something to get interested and excited about. The tight end room, as it is right now, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, Faron Brown. And like with Austin Hooper, for you guys, if you're just listening, I recommend coming back, just seeing this picture, because I just needed to put this one in, because it's just a nice student guy, you know? Like you would never have thought of him as an experienced NFL player. I think it's actually another picture of him, but I had to do it. Like he really looks good on this one. So. What this offense was pre-free agency, this is pretty much how it looked like, with some impending free agents, and this is how it looks right now. So I don't have a card for Jacoby Brissett, I'm sorry for that, but that's the only guy I'm missing. I'm not sure why I missed him, but well, you know, everybody makes mistakes, and mine is Jacoby. So I will start with the QB room here, obviously. And the person I'm gonna talk about is Mac Jones. I hope that I won't antagonize any Patriots fan that might come to this channel and watch this video. But I actually dislike that you are not going with Mac Jones. And hear me out before you start to crucify me, okay? So, I feel like I've mentioned this with Justin Fields. And that's the fact that for some of the, or actually most of the guys that are entering their fourth or third season as a QBs on their rookie deals, the thinking behind them is, it comes time when I have to pay them. And I would say that changes the narrative or changes the perception of them, because you are not thinking about them as like, are they these exciting young players with a lot of potential, but oh my God, we might have to pay this guy 50 million a year because he is future franchise QB. And to me, it just seems like it's missing the narrative. Well, how about we think of these guys as bridge QBs? Because that's what they can be for cheap. So, Mac Jones not picking up his 2025, I feel like 20 million is very rich for what he's shown so far. But for 5 millions, you could have had Mac Jones. And my grade on Mac Jones is a good backup. So I don't even think he should be a starter in the league. But I still think that if this was a possibility, this would be a route I would be looking for. And it might be that it wasn't a possibility. Maybe the bad blood within the locker room was just way too much for guys to handle. He lost the locker room and it was just time to move on. Maybe Jared Mayo with full rights, he wants to start with kind of clean house, having his QB of a choice, and maybe even he has some personal problems with Mac, I don't know. But given that he comes from the organization within that, it seemed like there was a lot of struggles, a lot of argument between Mac and staff. It might come with that. So I understand it might not be play just from personal wise. Like I understand that. If that's the case, I don't have problem with him being shipped out for pretty much like 6 or 7 round pick. So pretty much nothing. But if that was not the case, I would intrigue this possibility. So having Mac Jones for not even 5 million for 2024 would do this. Like this is the guy that was drafted very high and had very good rookie season. And then he had 2 abysmal seasons in which you benched him for Bailey Zappi, in which he yapped at his sideline. And if you are not given context its full weight, maybe this is the guy that you really have to move on, and it's all good that you do that. But I think the context matters a lot. And when you feel like in his second season as an NFL pro, he got Matt Patricia calling him plays as his offensive coordinator. I mean, yeah, that's not fun. I would say at least. And who is his best receiver that he had for in that 3-year time span? Who is that guy? This season it was probably Demario Douglas, 5th round, 6th round rookie. That maybe was his best wide receiver this season. And to say that the way that Patriots constructed their offense, and I feel like that was one of the biggest areas that made Bill Belichick's downfall this huge, was that this offense was constructed really poorly. There was no speed, it was slow. The guys that they brought as this veteran presence, and Mike Gesicki, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, they were all no-show. And if so, it was really in a short areas of the field. There was no one's pretty much stretching the field. And if that's the case, and obviously defense are going to notice, we are living in an age where this is really easy to pick up. And that even hardens the job that's already really hard, because you have to operate in such a small space, and you have constant pressure, your guys don't separate. Really this poor situation. Your offensive line is not bad in any cases, but it's not it's your strength of this team. It's good. It's decent. It's C minus, C maybe, on a good day. So you don't really have pretty much anything that would carry you, that would help you in that situation. So I don't think it's entirely, or even like it's even 50% of the failure of Patriots offense on Mac Jones. I would not put him on even 50%. And because of that, I would say that him being worth of the shot in 2024 has several outcomes. So the best outcome or the worst outcome depends how you view it. Is he would be excellent, right? In that case, you still, I think, hold a lot of leverage on him because I don't think if even if Mac Jones has an amazing fourth year, there's no one out there paying him 40, 50 million a year. So I feel like if he is amazing, you give him 3 years, $100 million contract, and it's like, yeah, he's actually, he might be actually the real deal. That's a very slim chance, right? I'm not tying my hopes to that. If he's just good, then 1 year, 8 to 10 million, bridge QB, money, again, if he goes and plays up to his potential, that I still believe is there, then you pay him, but you are pretty much never paying him top bucks unless he has like 2 or 3 consecutive seasons in which he's amazing. So you are always paying him on either this veteran bridge QB 1 year 7 to 10 million, or Geno Smith 3 year 80, 90, 100 million, some type of deal like that. So we are never paying him top bucks. And if he's bad, which I think most of Patriots fans would say, yeah, he's gonna suck. In that case, what you have is clean house from 2025. You wasted the season, but given that your window is not really 2024, you have not spent in free agency. Your division has Miami that trying to ripe the last fruits of to a rookie contract. You have Jets, who are absolutely all in, with Aaron Rodgers, with several veterans on 1 year deals, injury prone, until we have to pay this amazing defense. They are absolutely all in. And Bills, why they might take this 2024 season as kind of like a gap year in which they dealt some expensive contracts, they are taking some dead cap hits, and they are not really optimizing 2024. They still have Josh Allen. They're still going to be a really, really good team. So only in your division, like pretty much no matter what you do, no matter if you draft a QB, like you are not, like you are fourth best team in that division. Maybe you are third because Miami, I actually dislike some of the things that where they are heading, but like it's not your year. No matter what you do in free agency. So I would say, why not give Mac Jones this year? And again, if he sucks, you are absolutely closing the chapter. 2025, that's where you go from. You have a high pick in 2025 as well. And you use the third pick this year on Marvin Harrison. You actually give Mac Jones a proper chance because he would finally have his receiver. And again, if this sucks, if this fails, then next year you have high draft pick. You still have money, so you can bring veteran QB in if that's what you go for. Or you just draft your QB next year. You draft him into much better situation than you would go for this year. So yeah, I'm just maybe talking about this way too much, but it's also how I would treat this draft. If I were Patriots, I would not be picking Jaden Daniels number 3 unless Drake May comes to me. I would consider drafting Drake May if he falls to the third spot, but with third pick I would not go for Jaden Daniels because I would be putting him into ridiculously bad situation. The guy that I don't consider being such high upside guy as scale up as Drake, that I feel like you have to draft him if you have the case, if you have the chance. And I would rather prepare this situation for next year QB, maybe some veteran, maybe Russell Wilson after Pittsburgh where he looks great. Maybe you sign him and you go with him next year. I would definitely not be against that. What you do, what you've done, what I would do with like Mac Jones, you pretty much are doing with Jacoby Brissett because he's a good bridge QB. Again, this veteran bridge 7-8 is 7.9 million cap hit this season, just 1 year contract. I like that. I would have done it with Mac because I feel like there's a higher upside. But I'm okay with Jacoby Brissett, like kind of filling that role. So to me, this offense needs help because this is how it looks after free agency, right? Do you see? What do you see here? Your best wide receiver is Kendrick Bourne. Ideal world, he's your number 3. Juju, he might be done. Like his injuries, there seem to be a potential that they are just like waiting to happen, that his knees are just going to give up. And definitely his play is just bad. You hope Demario Douglas falls up on his rookie season, but you really need someone like Marvin Harrison into this. So, yeah. Okay, but that's the wide receiver room. I think it's like last year. You don't have much to be excited about beside Demario Douglas. In terms of tight ends, solid group, but like Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, they are veterans. You know what you are getting with them. They should help. They should help if you go Jaden Daniels, but are they going to be the case? Why he's successful? No. You also, like when you look at this, they cut Devontae Parker and they pretty much took all of the dead cap because there were a lot of guarantees. They have not saved anything pretty much, like 100k in terms of cap hit. That's how bad he was. And that was supposed to be one of your 2 best guys. And he was supposed to be $6 million cap hit. And they said, yeah, we want that $6 million cap hit, but we don't want him to play. They saved next season's money, but that's how bad he was, So in terms of that cap, they have him, Devin McCourty, Mac Jones, Trenton Brown, Adrian Phillips. It kind of accumulates to only 20 millions. So really, in terms of cap space overall, Patriots are in a great situation. They do not have pretty much any contract that would have some void years. So money that are just being pushed forward. So to me, again, this absolutely signals rebuild. What they did to running back room, they did not bring Zeke back. They brought Antonio Gibson. I'm like, whatever. I feel like Zeke is better, but Antonio 3 year, that's like 11 million. Yeah, why not? Why not? You have Ramondre as your main guy. He could have a really good year with Jacoby Brissett, I feel. But overall, this offense just, or this weaponry, man, it's just not good. Like there is no one that the defense will come up against and I'm scared of that. This guy, I have to scheme against this guy. I have to focus on this guy. You may hope that this could somehow be Demario Douglas and if he has another very good year, but no, I just don't see it, man. So I will end this up with the conversation about number 3 pick, and I will say once again, if you pick Jaden Daniels as number 3 as the Patriots, I think you are making a mistake. I feel like if Drake May or Caleb Williams somehow falls into, you take him. But if it's Jaden Daniels and Caleb and Drake are out, you either at least in my opinion, have to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Despite I hear like maybe it should be Malik Neighbors as number one wide receiver of the board. There's a lot of rambling. I just don't believe it. As the same as I just don't believe Jaden Daniels over Drake May. I just don't believe any wide receiver will surpass Marvin Harrison. Unless there will be some crazy wild stuff about the character issues with these guys. But I really feel like the order is Caleb, Drake, Jaden, Marvin, and Malik or Romeo Dunze are kind of, I can see them being interchangeable in eyes of some teams who is like the number 2 wide receiver. But I think Marvin as the number 1 is pretty much clear. I would draft him. And if you are like, we really want to draft Jaden Daniels, we really want him, I'm like, please, at least, don't say it out loud, and leverage that against Arizona. I feel like Arizona, Marvin Harrison, that's the spot where everybody kind of sees Marvin, and I feel like Arizona wants him really bad. So don't tell me that if you pick up the phone and say to Arizona, well, we are drafting Marvin, unless you are giving us, I don't know, like your number 4 pick and maybe second, like even if it was a third, if you are drafting Jaden Daniels, you have to draft down, you have to get Arizona on the call, and you at least have to try it. And I just cannot see that Arizona would not secure their guy by just like saying, here's 3rd round pick, we want Marvin Harrison. I just don't see that this would not be a play. So please, Patriots, I don't even particularly like Patriots. I'm a Seahawks fan, and I still think we should have run the ball. And it still hurts. But I really feel like this is what you have to do. I feel like you should draft Marvin Harrison, and if you want to draft Jaden, please get something out of it. Leverage Arizona into it. But that's all I wanted to say about the weaponry, and let's move forward. So we follow up on the offensive line of the Patriots. Here there are like 9 guys, some of them not there anymore, that I wanted to talk about or mention. So start with David Andrews, Calvin Anderson, Mike Onwenu. Following up with Cole Strange, Conor McDermott, Sidiso, and Trenton Brown and Antonio Mafi, and Chukwuma Okorafor. I hope I said it right. So, where are we in terms of Patriots offensive line and what they have done? So, when I was first preparing for this, for doing this, I was thinking about what free agents I would like to get here, what guys I would like to re-sign or not re-sign. And they actually have done what I would have done. They brought back Mike Onwenu on actually 3-year, it's like what, 57 million, which is slightly higher than I would expect them to do. I had them bringing him back for like 5 years, 70 million, but the market just kept getting higher and higher, showing the contract of Robert Hunt, 5 years, 100 million. So I feel like the expectations were a bit higher because of that, because of how the market was shaping up. So this contract, I feel it's a bit pricey to my liking, but you absolutely should have brought him back. And if it's like 5 or 10 more millions that I would hope for, or would hope that they would pay him, well, it's not like you don't have the money, it's not like you don't have the cap hit, and it's not like you cannot pay anyone else because of this, especially when most likely you are either getting your QB of the future this year or the next year. So you will have the most uh, like pricey position kind of figure out for years to come. They did not bring back Trenton Brown, which is also something I would have not done. Like, why not? Why would you brought him back? Because he would be a pricey option, and I did not enjoy his play very much. I feel like, given where you are, and again, it's more about actually following on the plan with not bringing rookie QB into this, because if so, then Trenton Brown bringing back would be made much more sense to me, because again, I'm all for 100% protecting my guy, but if I'm not doing that, I just don't need pricey player that would require a contract that to me is over his value over his quality. So where does this leave us? I think it leaves us with good O-line. Like, it's not gonna be like deal breaking for you in positive sense, but unless like David Andrews and him actually declining, like last 2 years were not really good. I think him as a very good starter might be a bit rich, but I still think there is a very good player in him. But again, like, I would not be surprised if this was way too high for your liking, guys. But even if he's just a good starter, you go with Mike Onwenu, Chukwuma Okorafor, David Andrews, Ghost Strange, and CDSO, and yeah, like, I don't see a huge problem. Obviously, Okorafor might not, like, is probably your weakest link. Kind of could be CDSO and his pass protection, that's kind of non-existent. But you have some backup, not necessarily good. And you should just be fine. Like, for the money we're paying this, yeah. Like, this is, like, if we talk about like bridge QBs, in a way this is a bridge O-line, right? You hope to develop CDSO in a positive environment for him. You have your cornerstone of the future in Mike Onwenu. You are taking a flyer on possibly like high upside still young guy in Chukwuma Okorafor. And you have some veterans there that should provide good enough floor that your QB is not getting murdered. So yeah, to me this is kind of a bridge, good enough O-line that kind of suits the situation. Like, I mean, I really like it. I like that you bring the Michael Madden back a lot, and yeah, for the situation you are in, I like this O-line, you know. So that to me sums up the offense, and let's go straight up to the defensive side of the ball. We start with D-line and linebackers. Again, I will, for those guys who just listen to this, Dietrich Weiss, Keon White, Matt Judon, Josh Uche. I could not resist him tackling Josh Allen or trying to tackle Josh Allen, because I'm not sure if he get there type of picture. And Fernie Jennings, Devin Goodshaw, Christian Barmore, Daniel Ekuale, Harmon Watts, Joan Bentley, Jalani Tavai, Mike Wilson, and Sione Takitaki. So there's a lot of players here to go through. Some of them are not there anymore. And why is there so many players? I think it's reminiscent of what the Patriots under Bill Belichick was or were about, and it's try to find the perfect formation or perfect usage for imperfect players in a way that they were trying to always put guys in in the situations that they are best suited against. Pass rushers, guys against the run, and maybe like patch it up with guys like Matthew Judon that can be there all the time. But overall, it was like run back, run forward, just put the right guys into the right situations, and for that we kind of need, we can have this plethora of guys, and they are interchangeable based on the situation. So that's why there's so many people or so many players that actually make sense to talk about in terms of Patriots defensive line and their linebackers. So just one quick note here, Matthew Judon is pretty much the only player that has some money pushed into the future. It's only 2.3 million. It's again like Patriots. Another side of a rebuild is you don't have money pushed forward. You took a dead cap this year, about 20 million. You took some hits, and you are figuring it out forward. You are not jeopardizing your future for right now. And one of the signs of this is you actually don't have these void years, this money pushed into next years. Big shout out to New Orleans Saints, whom I'm not really sure if I absolutely loved that experience because it was so horrible, or it was the other way around, where I was like trying to prep for them because they are masters of pushing money, going forward. And yeah, episode about Saints, there were some there, I will definitely like re-prepare, but for all of you guys out there, sport track, find New Orleans Saints, try to manage their roster, and try to find out players that you can cut, and they would actually lower your cap hit for the season. It's pretty much impossible because when you cut a guy, every money that he had like in void years, like going forward, they would all sum up and put into the season. So because they are playing this game with money, it's quite impossible to find a guy that if you cut him, you are actually better off this season in terms of cap hit. So go out there, play it. It's a fun game for crazy people like me. But let's talk back to the Patriots and their defensive line and their linebackers. And I would like to talk about where we are rather than where we were. I like it, man. I mean, it's not a surprise that this defense was top 10 despite having like plethora of backups in secondary, because there is so many good guys in this D-line that despite Matthew Judon injury, they were able to maintain the level of play and were definitely the strong point. If there was any of this team last season, it was this unit. So, are you even missing some pieces? So on the edge, in terms of your pass rush, on the edge, DJ Wise, Keon White, Matt Judon, and Ferry Jennings, Josh Uche. I think you are set here. Like again, none of them beside Jennings and White are actually signed for next season. So again, that's the situation we are in. You put this guy out, they are very good unit. You miss like that true elite guy. You have Matthew Judon, who I really like. If he's your number 2, you are crazy about it. When he's your number 1, you know you can do better. But there's like so many guys that can complement this unit, this roster, so I like this. I also like that you brought Josh Uche back. There were reports that he could have more money elsewhere, but he chose to be back under the familiar system, under the coach Jared Mayer. That obviously comes from the Patriots' defensive side of the ball, and he will try to recreate what he did in like last 8 games of 2022 season when he was an absolute menace. After that, he was supposed to have a breakout year, and he had crazy bad year. He was not winning any matchups. He was really bad. It's one of the most up and down story when you are talking about Patriots. Like imagine J.C. Jackson, like 2021 with Patriots and 2022 with Chargers. That's kind of the difference that Joshua had between last several games in 2022 and the whole 2023. But I feel like the Patriot system could get the most out of him, and if not, like you have guys, you are okay. But if he's bad, if he just cannot follow on that flash that he was like he had like 10 sacks in like 7 games. He was absolutely unstoppable in that span. If he's bad, you are okay with that because you have other guys there. In terms of inside, maybe that's one area of this where like behind Devon Goodshaw and Christian Barmore, you would like third piece that's like better than Armon Watts and Daniel Ekuele, who I feel like they're like solid backups, but ideally I don't have them as my number 3. And also like with Christian Barmore, you actually have a guy that has upside to be very good starter, amazing starter, possibly not elite, but he can definitely improve. But you would like someone as your number 3, like in the area of like qualities of Devon Goodshaw. And also because here you are actually in a spot that none of these guys have a contract for next season. I feel like that might be a spot where you spending the drafts to like bring a guy to develop within this group and just show me what you have, and there is a spot for you next season. In terms of linebackers, or like the inside linebackers, this is a good group. Jawan Bentley, Jalan Tavai, they were kind of similar players. They are playing out there. They are good. Not necessarily like complement each other. They are more reminiscent of each other, but they are making it work in Patriots. And with Taki, you just have a good group. Like this group should never be your issue, and it's not like there's a crazy upside, but it's like a good group, like very, very good group. I don't know if it's like 10th best linebacker group in the league. I feel like that's where we are. So overall, this D-line, I mean, you could obviously always can do better. Like you have 2 things. I feel like you need that third piece inside of defensive line. I would address that within the draft. And second part is like there is not much going on beside 2024, but I like it because it's an open competition. There's several guys for each spot that they can show, yeah, I'm here to stay, and earn the big extensions. And I believe from this group there will be several cornerstones for the future success of the Patriots. And now we go to the secondary. J.C. Jackson, Jonathan Jones, Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, Marco Wilson, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, and Marte Mapu. So here we were before the free agency, and here we are right now. So the Patriots did one absolutely reasonable thing. They got rid of J.C. Jackson. They had this possibility. There were no dead money attached to that cut. And I mean, the fall from grace for J.C. Jackson is crazy. It's kind of sad actually because like you never want. I, I mean, unless you kind of hate the guy, you don't want to see someone that was reaching all pro level, and within 2 years he's just an absolute shell of himself. Like he, I mean, to play that he was showing up last year and even like the year before, like he should not be. He should be a practice squad guy, and that's like such a downfall. So I'm not sure if it's something like mental. You know, maybe he's dealing with some issues. If it's some kind of injury, or if he just secured the bag and it was like motivation just stopped there. But it's really huge fall from grace, and I mean it was absolutely the right move to cut him, and as well I feel like it was the right move to bring him in because they paid pretty much nothing to Chargers and they knew if it's not gonna work, we believe it's not gonna work, and if it will, then great because you know our system actually brought the best out of him before, and if it's not going to work, we got rid of him for nothing. So here we are in terms of right now. Cornerback room, I like. I like a lot. Um, I mean, is there anything to add to this? Maybe Christian Gonzalez is a guy that you want to spend more time talking about. He was amazing, you know, when he played before the injury last season. But we only saw him for like 5 or 6 games in his NFL career. So maybe I'm overvaluing him, but I feel like he is set up for a huge year. Jonathan Jones is like kind of this experienced presence that give you good play. He's probably not ever gonna be shutdown corner number one, but that's the upside of Christian Gonzalez. And then Marco Wilson and Marcus Jones, you have good enough options to complement Jonathan and Christian that this unit should not be a problem, at least for 2024. And you know, even like going forward with Christian Gonzalez, I feel like you made the right pick. He is gonna be the guy that you built the secondary around. In terms of safety, the situation is like short term even better because Kyle Dagger and Jabril Peppers for 20 millions, like obviously, you know, they are more expensive than the cornerbacks, but they are veterans. You are not paying them small amount because they are not on rookie contracts. So Jabril Peppers for 6.5 million is, let me think, in terms of value, top 10 ish, top 15 contract in the league given the quality of the player, because I feel like he should be worth at least 12 million. They took a fire on him last season, signed him to 2-year contract, and now they are reaping the benefits because he was outstanding last season. And I thought that Kyle Dagger, you would bring him back for longer. I thought that like 4 years, 50 millions would be in play. I'm not sure if it's like Patriots that wanted like just a 1-year deal, or if it's Kyle that he believes he's worth more than maybe they were offering, and it's like, yeah, I want to prove it to you, so I'm taking like sort of franchise tag in a way type of deal. But yeah, that's absolutely a great room. Martin Mapu, last year's rookie, actually showed play that I'm confident enough to say that he is a good backup. If one of these two guys gets injured, I'm okay with him starting out there. Like, I'm happy with it, but I'm okay. And maybe he can develop behind these two guys for the future. So overall, the secondary, there is some upside, there is some immediate quality. For where you are, again, like it. I like it. And finally, let's talk about coaches and special teams. So Jared Mayo, DeMarcus Covington, pretty much you lift up guys within the organization. You gave the keys to Jared Mayo. Like with Patriots coaches, it's always gonna be like I have my doubts, right? Because it never worked outside of Patriots, and we like this is the first time we are going to see inside because obviously Bill Belichick was there for like 20 years, or no, it was more, right? It was much more than it was more than that. So it did not work outside of Patriots. Will it work inside? I hope. I always hope that the guys are doing well because that means the games are better, the product so-called of is better. There is much more to talk about. I much rather praise the players, praise the general management than bash on them, even though I'm hard critic. But yeah, I wish them well. But you also are like, how much of an influence did Jared Mayo had? Because of Bill Belichick, because you know that he is the type of hands-on, want to control pretty much everything type of a GM slash head coach. That's pretty much what they were trying to get rid of him because he had like his fingers into like his influence like were everywhere. So that's part of why he's gone. And in terms of Alex Von Pelt, I don't see like a crazy upside with him. I don't feel like he is some big name in terms of like offensive coordinators. So that's also kind of why I would be hesitant to put Jaden Daniels into the situation because I don't necessarily have a huge faith in this offensive coordinator, which when you have a defensive-minded head coach and you want to draft a QB, I would like to have better name than Alex Von Pelt. No offense to Alex, but I don't see him as a top guy, as a guy that's likely going to get a head coaching job like in the near future. So yeah, this coaching tree, I hope it figures out well. It could be that in terms of rebuild that might be like their downfall in a way, like they are being put out there, to be bridge between one big name and Bill Belichick and maybe another big name. That, I mean, nobody's gonna say it openly, obviously, but it could be the case. But I hope and wish them well. Like nothing against them for sure. And in terms of the special teams, I mean, it was an absolute disaster. I will put Bryce Behringer and Chet Ryland still here. I mean, Bryce was actually kind of okay. Again, like if you are only listening, I would recommend here take a look at Bryce's picture because it's a really nice one. And with Chet Ryland, I don't want to be overly negative, but that was disaster, man. Like he didn't kick even like 70% of his field goals. He actively cost them like maybe 2 or 3 games. And he is a fourth round pick from last season's draft. No, from last year's draft. That really don't pan out. There's like, do you bring him back? Because like to me it's like a similar conversation like with Mac Jones, because it might just be that the perception of him is just so bad that even in terms of value because you actually spent the 4th round pick and for some reason you saw something in him. Maybe it was the nerves, maybe it was the situation, why he was like so bad last year. So in terms of value, and especially like because this is not your year, you should bring him back. But maybe the perception is just cut him because he was just so bad. So I'm kind of intrigued how they will figure out this dilemma. I would not be surprised if Chad Ryland, despite like the general opinion, if he was still kicking for the Patriots next season. So that would be it for the roster rundown. And now I'm going to talk a bit about draft and maybe a bit about some of the topics that I presented for this team. But I feel like I've covered them a lot. And also I've covered the draft part as well, kind of how I would approach this. So, in terms of draft, what I would do, I would pick Marvin Harrison with my number 3 pick, with number 34. 34. I would be looking if there is a good defensive lineman, especially for the inside, that I can take. Yeah. If not, investment into the O-line, presumably. Like the interior guys might not be on the board, like in their natural order. Like you would have to overdraft for them. So maybe a tackle from the 2nd tier if they are out there. Some to compete with like Okorafor for the starting job. Would I take like the 2nd wide receiver with that pick? No, I feel like in Marvin, Demario Douglas, like suddenly that group like looks just so much better with someone like Marvin Harrison. So to me, that's where you spend your premium picks: wide receiver, inside defensive line, and offensive line. Whether it's inside or outside, pretty much it's dictated like who is on the board at that situation. So I feel like in both areas you can do with a young and quality competition. Would I go with like 3rd or 4th tier QB if they fall to number 34? I would say yes, because I feel like this roster will have a lot of holes next season because of a lot of the guys actually hitting free agency, but you will be able to keep a lot of them because you have such a high amount of cap space. And because of that, I feel like taking a bit of a flyer on this guy. Maybe it's like Bonix, maybe falls there. Maybe Michael Penix. If these guys, if it's not like a tier under, like Bonix and Michael Penix, I feel like you take a swing on them. You see if they are worth it. It doesn't. It should not like push you from maybe pursuing great veteran next season, or if you have top pick in the draft, maybe you actually. It's just the 2nd round, right? It's not number 3 pick. So why not? Like I feel like you don't necessarily need to have this pick because you have a lot of young pieces that could be cornerstone of this franchise. And if you could take a guy that you trust that has this upside, take him. But I would not do it with number 3 pick because I feel like the value that you are getting with Marvin Harrison, he is the guy that transforms your offense immediately, and I feel like there is lower amount of risk him being a bust than in Jaden Daniels. So that's my line of thought. I will be with you guys with live stream on draft day, so maybe you will see me reacting no to Jaden Daniels being drafted to Patriots. But that's all gonna be found out in just slightly over a month from today. But for today, for me, for the Patriots, I think it's it. Yeah, I think we are done. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Please let me know now in a comment if there's something you want me to improve, if it's something you dislike or if you liked. I appreciate that as well. And if you have not, go and watch other videos from this series. And thank you very much. Have a nice day. See you next time with the Cardinals.